I look at my phone and there's an Instagram DM and he's like, "Hey Brett, would love for you to get in Banana Land. Like, is this possible?" Like, I'm not lying. It was the same day.
Welcome to the Banana Breakdown Podcast. Whether it's player interviews just like this, weekly breakdowns of the games, or post-game live streams, we love to talk about all things Banana Ball. Hey Brett, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys. Thanks guys for having me on again.
Yeah, we're excited to talk a little bit more and dive deep into your background in baseball and how you made it to Banana Land.
Yeah, so first we wanted you introduce yourself to the fans, especially now with the Tailgaters being a brand new team. Introduce yourself. What position do you play, and anything else that they need to know about you?
Heck yeah. So, my name's Brett Carson. I'm from a small town, Asheville, Ohio, just a little south of Columbus, Ohio, and I'm on the Tailgaters this year, number 10. Pitcher, outfield, and first base. And then, according to Brett Loftus, our announcer, be everywhere Brett Carson is what he's been calling me. So hopefully, who knows if that name will stick. I kind of like it. We were going through two of them. It was either be everywhere Brett Carson or a dual threat Brett. But he kind of on the PA in Albuquerque went ahead and said be everywhere Brett Carson. And for me, I felt like it kind of just stuck. So hopefully it works out. But yeah, I mean, I went to two small D3s. I went to Muskingum University my first 3 years of school, and then I transferred to Marietta College where I ended my senior and fifth year. And then I went on to play professional baseball in the Pioneer League the last 2 years. And then now I'm here in Banana Land. Couldn't be happier.
That's awesome. But yeah, any like cool stories from those other leagues or things that kind of led you here?
Yeah, so I would say I guess crazy story is that, I mean, I've played professional baseball for a year and a half, 2 years, which one is a big blessing of its own. However, I've been on 3 different teams within that year and a half, which is actually kind of wild. So the wild part about my professional ball experience. So I finished school in 23, the spring of 23. So when I was transferred to Marietta, which we were a really good program. So my first year, we were number one in the nation in D3 after the first week of the season in 22. Went on, I think we were like 45-5 in the regular season that year. Went on, hosted a regional, hosted a super regional, and then went to the World Series, which was so much fun. So I went back for the 5th year, and we actually lost 7 out of our 9 guys that were starters. So it was also a chance for me to come back for a 5th year to kind of be that leader, which I kind of was the year before, just because I was a senior at the time. I was still a true senior. However, with it being a new school, all those guys were there. So like I didn't really step on anyone's toes by any means. However, like it was kind of once I started playing, it kind of also fed into me still being a leader. But it was also at that time, it was also kind of hard for like I guess for me to also like, hey, like young guys, like you're supposed to like do this, what we do here, because also like I was still learning what we were trying to do there. Like I knew kind of ins and outs obviously of college baseball, but I didn't know the ins and out of the program, which was a completely different step from where I was before. Anyway, so I went back my 5th year. And then we struggled in the beginning, figured it out, hosted another regional, hosted a super regional, and unfortunately we lost in the super regional. But that year we lost to the champions, so it wasn't that. So the year before we went to the World Series, lost to the defending national champions. The next year we hosted a super regional, lost to the 23 national champions, which was Misericordia that year, which is a really good ball club. Anyways, pro ball experience. So I ended up a week after the season. Or actually, I'll start the day after the season ended. I knew I wanted to play pro ball my whole career, and at that point, it was the final time. Like I'd already been thinking about it, but like I was like, I want to finish my college career, and then we'll worry about that step. Because I mean, obviously, I wanted to be drafted, and at that point in middle of May, like I think we had one. I think I had a Brave scout come out and watch me one game, but didn't really hear anything back from him. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened if I would have got drafted. But at that point in May, with the draft being about a year and a half or a month and a half later, I hadn't heard anything, and I went ahead and posted my stats and posted my some clips on Twitter, which led to a day later, the Washington Wild Things in the Frontier League reached out to me, and they ended up offering me a workout for that next weekend. So at that point, I've already got 50 games under my belt. The next week, I go to Washington, Pennsylvania, and have a workout on Saturday, and then they asked me to come back for a workout again on Sunday. And then this is where it kind of gets wild. So they had it was early in the morning because it was a 1 o'clock start. So it was early, had an early workout, and the manager was like, hey, like I really like you. I want to sign you, but we have too many guys. We're about to go on a road trip because they were going to go to New Jersey for 3 days, and then Quebec for the next three in the week. So he was like, hey, if you're cool with that, if you'll give me your word that like you'll sign with us, he said, I'll wait till we get back from the trip because I had to figure out who we're gonna have to release. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So first off, that was already my first experience of indie ball where I was like, they're already just gonna be releasing guys. So at that point, I'm like, okay, this is kind of cutthroat in a way. So it's about 2.5 hours from home. So I start my drive home, and I'm halfway home, middle of the game. Manager calls me out of breath, and he's like, Brett, how far are you? And I'm like an hour away, but I'm almost home. And he was like, how quick can you be here? And I'm like, right now?
No way.
Swear. I'm like, right now? And he was like, well, yeah, sort of. And he goes, I just found out who I'm going to release. So that was also wild. Like, it was middle of the game. Someone pitched bad. He eventually was going to release him, but he called me in the middle of the game. And then I was like, well, like, you need me like tonight? Like, didn't the game go on? He goes, no, not tonight. And then he was like, well, can you be here in the morning? And I was like, yes. He goes, all right, bus leaves at 9:30, and hangs up. That's all he said. So that was already wild in my opinion. So then I'm like, so much emotion because at that point, like, even though it's indie ball, like, professional baseball was literally right in my lap at that point. And it's like, regardless of how this whole thing ended, it was like, that was a huge check mark on my list because like, at that point, I'm going to be in a professional uniform. Like, that's been the whole goal this whole time. You know what I mean? And obviously, wherever I'm at, I want it to do well and the best I can and continue playing as long as I can. But at that point, it was like so many emotions. I'm calling people on the way home, and I'm like, all right, just get home. So I get home that night, start packing, because at that point, I'm like, I got to pack not only for a week, like, I'm also kind of got to figure out how I'm going to pack because I'm going to have to be in Washington. Like, luckily, it was only 2.5 hours away. So within 12 hours, I'm driving at 5 a.m. to go to Washington to make sure I'm there on time for the 9 a.m. bus. Get there, and then we go to New Jersey. We're in New Jersey, and then I played the first game. And, of course, the first game in professional baseball, I can't remember his name, but they had an ex-big leaguer pitching. And it's like, of course, my first pro ball experience is off of an ex-big league pitcher. So it was that part was kind of wild, too. And I had some good pieces, didn't get a hit. I think I was like 0 for 4, but I had a couple barrels. And at that point, the Wild Things were already struggling at that point a little bit. And like the morale in the locker room was just got my first hit out of the way. And funny thing is, this guy is throwing a heavy sinker. I was like, first pitch, I'm sitting away. I'm hitting this. I don't care. Because I didn't really struggle, but like I was just like a little sped up when I was in New Jersey. Anyways, throws me a sinker right by the third baseman. I'm rounding first, slip and fall. And the announcer's even like, Carson gets his first professional hit, and he blows a tire rounding first, and just absolutely just ate turf as I came around first. And I played center that day. Came in and like we were getting stomped, so I came in and threw at the end, which is again, it's like all piecing it together now. Come in the clubhouse after that game, and the manager comes up and brings me a beer, and he's like, "Here you go, kid. Thanks for eating up innings for me." And like when he said that, I was like, I thought you signed me to be a pitcher and a hitter, like eating up innings. I didn't say that, obviously, but it's going through my head at that point. Was 23, so I was still only 22 years old at the time because I turned 23 later that summer. So anyways, we come back home for a 6-game homestand. So I don't play Tuesday, don't play Wednesday, I don't play Thursday, and that's like at this point, like I'm having a good headset with it, space with it, because I'm like, I would love to be playing, obviously, but at that point, I'm like, I'm getting paid. I'm on a professional roster. Like, it's what I wanted. Like, obviously, I'd want to be playing. I was trying to look for the positives. And then, so at that point, it was me and another guy in center field. And he was a rookie at the time, too, but he had finished school the year before, so he was there the whole year. He's been there since spring training. Anyways, he wasn't hitting very well. So him and I, because we were both in center, we were both cool dudes, so we started talking quite a bit, and like at that point, like he's kind of giving me the ins and outs a little bit, and then this new guy comes in for a workout the week after I did, and he's a center fielder. So at that point, him and I are looking at each other like, one of us is gonna go. And at that time, I'm also like, I don't think it's gonna be me. Like, I just got here. Like, I haven't had like any time that I really proved myself. So anyways, get dressed for the game Thursday, and I had friends that were in Pittsburgh, so they came to the game, and I didn't play, but I was talking to them after, and all of a sudden, here comes the clubby running out, and I have an iconic picture, which is funny, my buddy took. I'm signing autograph for a kid, and a clubby's in the background running towards me, and he's like, hey, Skip wants to see you. So I'm like, great, like I don't have any stats, like I'm about to be released. I go in there, and he goes, "Hey, just want to let you know, like I traded you at the beginning of the day. You're going out to Colorado." He goes, "I don't really got much for you." Like he was like, you need at bats, and you're not gonna get at bats here." He was like, "It's just I'm helping you do you a favor. Like you just need at bats." And he's like, "We're sending you out to Colorado." And I was like, "Okay, like thank you." Because at that point, and then again, I thought I was getting released. Now I'm being traded, and I'm like, I've been in pro ball for a week, and I'm getting traded. You know what I mean? Like it was just that was kind of wild as it is. And then so again, being 2.5 hours away from home at that point, it's 11:30 at night, and I'm like, I'm a late sleeper anyway. Like I can go to sleep late, so I'm like, I would rather drive 2.5 hours home and be home because I didn't know what was going on. Like they were like, hey, they didn't give me any numbers. They're like, they're gonna contact you. Like other than that, like you got to get all your stuff and get out of here. And I was like, okay, cool. Like thank you, appreciate it, appreciate the opportunity. We'll see you. And then wake up Friday, nothing. And then like Friday evening, I get the call from Rocky Mountain, and they were like, hey, happy to have you. Like this trade, we're really excited for it. When can you be here? And I was like, well, I can drive. I'm like, I can be out there probably Monday because it's like a 21-hour drive. So me and my parents loaded up the car Saturday morning, took off, was in Colorado Springs by Monday. And then to make the whole summer like just fitting, I guess, I finally started to, I got the opportunity and started hitting. And then I was hitting like 380 at the time. Through 17 games, my last at bat of a road trip in Ogden, I swung at a high fastball and I was like, the heck, like something happened in my hand. Like I was like, something cracked. Previous years before, like especially swinging wood bats, like sometimes I would sprain my wrist, and like that's what it felt like. So I finished the at bat, swing at another one and foul it off. And at that point, it was a bigger crack. Like I heard it through my whole body. And the long story short, I ended up figuring out I broke my hamate bone. And so yeah, so then the summer was over. But luckily, like I was starting to do good. That the manager was like, in Rocky Mountain, he's like, hey, I want you to come back. And typically, which is also wild, because typically in indie ball, like 2 guys on Rocky Mountain had gotten hurt when I was there, and they were just released. And he kept me on the 60-day, because like in Pioneer League, it's only 10 and 60-day IL. There's no 20, 30. It's just 10 and 60. So obviously I was going to not be good for 10. Like, so they put me on the 60, and he was like, hopefully like it'll work out that we can have you back. So I was like, all right, well, I was on the IL. I wasn't getting paid. So I'm like, I'm going to go home and get surgery. And so I went home, had the surgery and whatnot. But at that point it was kind of wild because I'd already played 50 games in college. And again, another set, like, I mean, I played college and summer league. So like, it was kind of felt like that long anyways, but it was like, I was wore out. Like that whole week when I got home, I would just slept. I mean, obviously, like, then I had the surgery real quick, so it helped me even sleep more. But yeah, like it was that whole like month span. It was just absolutely wild. From just like a week after the season, getting a contract, a week after that, getting traded, and then about 2.5, 3 weeks later, breaking my hamate bone. Like it was just a little bit of a whirlwind. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but then flash forward, next year went good, and then the end of the year. Or it was end of July, we were going to make the playoffs in Rocky Mountain. Like it was already kind of that point because we didn't win the first half because they do it as like first half winner makes it from both divisions. And then second half, it gives teams that like finish lower to have a chance if they want to turn it around, whatever. And at that point, we're almost done with the season. And they, like I was hitting leadoff center. I was playing center field every day. Like it was a running joke at the time because everyone had an off day but me. Like I was asking for like not necessarily asking for off days, but that's the point where I was like, all right, it's cool that I'm playing every single day, but I'm like my body was wore out. Like, and I was like, I just want like one day, just nothing. Manager's like, nope, laid off center field. I'm like, that's a blessing, but like whatever. Yeah. But then it's another story. Long story short, there was stuff in the kind of the league kind of helped. There was stuff that happened. And not with me, but other people. And they kind of forced this trade, sort of say. At least that's not what I was told. I was told that it was by the same person that it was forced. And then also the same person told me that he didn't want to do it and that he didn't have to do it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to Oakland. And funny thing was, I had a couple of guys where I was talking about it right before I had left, and they were like, you could just retire and not go. And I'm like, well, like I'm a professional, like, you know what I mean? I'm playing professional baseball. Like we were hearing so many bad things that stuff were happening in Oakland. But when I got there, I'm like, there's only 2 guys that wanted out. Everyone there was there the whole year. So I'm like, it was really that bad? And like when I got there and met some of the guys, like they were like, it's not bad. Like it's not as bad as what people are saying. So yeah, like it all ended up working out, and I ended up kind of finding myself and finding my swing again back in Oakland, which all kind of everything happens for a reason. Yeah, I guess. Sorry, I'll add one more thing to that. So the week I got traded, we were on a 6-day road trip in Grand Junction, right? And so we're there So we had the Monday off day. We played Tuesday, and we were doing outfield drills. And we had 3 outfielders at the time in Rocky Mountain. And the funny thing was, we were sitting there. And we were close with the manager. Like he was one of those guys that once the game started, he was full manager. But outside of game time, he was really cool dude, like personable, like you know what I mean. And so we're messing with him, and he was cracking on us. He was like, "You outfielders, if you guys don't charge the ball, you guys can go in and charge yourself back home. Like I'm gonna release you." And us three are looking at each other like we're 1, 2, and 4 in the lineup, hitting 300. Like how are you? Like you're not gonna get rid of us. And the one guy was even like, "What are you gonna do? Trade us?" And then funny thing is literally 4 hours later, the trade fell into his lap, and then me and my roommate, who also got traded with me, we were in our hotel, and a guy that was playing in Oakland that played with us the year before in Rocky Mountain called us and was like, "Hey, you guys are traded to Oakland." And we literally hung up because we're like, "Dude, stop lying." And then I'm sitting there like, I haven't heard from this dude in a year. Like he doesn't just randomly just call. So I called him back, and I'm like, "Hey, like, are you serious? Like what's going on?" He was like, "I swear, like yada yada yada." He's like, "I'm not supposed to tell you, but I like you guys, so like I'm letting you guys know." So at that point, me and him are looking at each other like, we're in Grand Junction, 5 hours away from Colorado Springs. We're supposed to go to Oakland, and these guys are already on their way. Like, what's going on? So I went in and talked to the manager on that Wednesday and was like, "Hey, like, is this true?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then even funnier story, as I'm calling my parents, like, "Hey, like, I'm traded." I look at my phone, and there's an Instagram DM, and I'm like, what the heck is this? Click on it, and it's from Barry Aldridge. And he's like, and the whole text is, "Hey, Brett, yada, 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 would love for you to get in Banana Land. Like, is this possible?" Like, I'm not lying. It was the same day. And I thought it was, I was like, this has to be spam. Like, it has to be. So I played with Garrett DeClue in 2019 Summer Ball. So him and I have been like, not tight, but we've kept up with each other through the years. So I reached out to him like, "Hey, is this guy real?" And he says, "Yes, he's the man. He's, you know what I mean? Like, he's legit." So I'm like, all right. So I got on a phone call with Barry while this whole thing's happening. And Barry's like, "Hey, yada, yada. Like, I want you in Banana Land." Like, obviously short story. And him and I had a very good conversation for like an hour and a half. And basically at that time, I was like, "Barry, I don't want to say no, but I was like, I am trying to chase this affiliate dream." I was like, so like, I was like, "Is there any way we could wait till after the season to like kind of like pursue this?" I was like, because I'm a guy that like I don't want to focus on others. Like I would like to have it in the forefront, but like I don't want to be like mid-season me still trying to make the like an affiliate roster and like be thinking of this, because it would just throw some things for a whirlwind. And he was like, "No worries." He said, "I'm gonna send you a form." Like he said, and then he said, "But we really like you. Like if you submit the form and show you're at least someone interested, we're gonna send you a tryout invite." And then he said, "Which won't be till after the season." He said, "So you're totally fine." He said, "But if you have any sort of interest, fill out the form." So that night, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm filling the form out, filled it out. And I actually had fun filling the form out. And it was at first, that was the first time I was like actually talking to a camera. So like that was also like the whole start of the whole thing too. But yeah, just multiple wild stories in my year and a half. And then I think that one, forget about it until I start talking about it. The day I found out I got traded to Oakland was the day that it was just everything kind of came full circle. Yeah. And then the rest of the season, like played in Oakland. Everything went good there. And I was planning on going to the Philly tryout, which was like September 15th. I might have my dates wrong. And we made the playoffs in Oakland. So the week before that tryout was the first round of the playoffs, and the championship would have been that next weekend. So not by any means was I wanting us to lose, because I wanted to win. But I was like, this is the closest tryout to home, so like it's not going to be that big of a deal if we end up losing. So we ended up losing game 1, winning game 2, very close game 3, lost game 3. So literally within 8 hours, because I got the quickest flight I could from Oakland to home. So literally like the game ended at like 11. I didn't even sleep. 5 a.m. flight back home. Like I almost had everything packed. Was like, let's go home. And honestly, did not touch a bat or a ball that whole week until I went to the tryout. And at this point also had never seen a banana ball game, just only heard things. Had seen things on Instagram and whatnot. And I'm like, at the time, before, I'm like, all these guys do is sing and dance. Like, that's all they do. Like, they're just like, whatever. I'd never seen a game. So me and my girlfriend are driving to Philly, and I'm like, it's kind of weird for them just to have a tryout in Philly on a Sunday morning. Like, they got to be around here somewhere, right? And we look it up, and of course, they're playing in Citizens Bank Park Field. I don't like where the Phillies play. Yeah. And we found tickets for like $90 on the Saturday the day before, and I'm like, can we buy these? I'm like, well, like it'll help my mind, like at least see. And I go there, and the moment I sat down in that seat, I was like, holy crap. It started with all the fans, and I'm like, dude, like there was 3 kids sitting in front of us just rattling off guys from both teams. And I'm like they're big league guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, from a guy that has no idea what this thing is. I mean, preconceived idea, not by any means, just from what you know what I mean? Just normal baseball player mind. And then, yeah, so I get the kids that are sitting in front of me, they're like saying all this, and I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. And then like I'm watching and I'm like, these guys are actually like playing ball. Like, these guys are actually good. So then it really did help me going into the tryout, because one more flashback, I guess. When I had to finish that whole week out when I got traded. I had to finish that week playing for Rocky Mountain knowing I was traded. So because I couldn't go back to Creighton Junction, and the Rocky Mountain, which is also wild, it shouldn't have happened. But like the 2 guys in Oakland left. They were on their way to Rocky Mountain, but we had to stay because we didn't have enough guys. Like we wouldn't have had enough guys in Rocky Mountain. So we had to stay and help. But we're playing for a team that we're not even technically on anymore.
Yeah.
So in BP that whole week, that's the only time I was like, there's a routine fly ball, and I was like, I'm traded, and I just started doing behind the back and was like, I think I can do this. Like, that's the first time I've ever ripped it. And again, going into the tryout, I was so scared because that was the only week that I practiced any sort of like trick plays or whatnot. At that point, the guys on my Rocky Mountain team, who I was extremely close with and still are with the majority of them, they were out there, and they had knew that I got the call and whatnot to possibly do this, and they were like, dude, you could do this. And I was like, okay, like I'll give it a shot. And then go to the tryout, and I was honestly, when I got to the tryout, I was so nervous. Like, not baseball related. It was do I fit in banana ball? Because at that point, the first thing, I don't know if you guys have any, or I guess I'll tell the fans, like, and the first thing you do is, Jesse came and talked to us. That was the first thing. But after that, the first thing you do on the field is you dance. So at first we're doing Hey Baby first. At that point, like, I'm also like learning this Hey Baby, which, like, once you get it down, it's not too hard to know. But at that point, I'm like, some guys are into it. I'm like, these guys are weird. And I'm like, what the you know what I mean? And then I'm like, at this point, it's 9 a.m. in the morning, and I'm like, screw it. I'm like, I'm here, all in. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, going with it. And then we do the kick lines, and then at that point, I am fully, like, I haven't even touched a baseball at that point. I'm like, I am so warmed up for this thing. And then we go to the outfield, and I'm in the outfield, and some of these guys are doing like the whole shirt thing, and like that scares me still. I don't do the whole shirt bounce. That scares me. But the one thing I did, I played soccer back in the day, so like I popped it up and was juggling on my feet, and then caught it behind the back. And Ant, who was out there, whose party animals hitting coach, was like, "Hey, that's sick. That's new. We haven't seen that before." And I'm like, "Heck yeah, okay, let's do it." I was like, "Heck yeah." But I look around, and then I see Looters on a unicycle, and I'm like, that guy's on the team. At that point, Mark Smith. We had so many guys that are in banana ball that was at that Philly tryout, which is actually even funnier because at the time I was like, I feel like I don't like stand out with these guys. Like I feel like at that point I was just raw baseball talent, like obviously like hard work, but you know what I mean. Like I was like trying to fit in this thing, but I think the other thing that helped me too was like they said like you can go as a character, like you can go like whatever, and like obviously some guys go as a certain character, and that's how they are going in the banana ball. But we were in Philly. And I'm a big Rocky fan, so I'm like, hey, I went on Amazon the week I got home and ordered a Rocky robe, Rocky shorts, and so I went as Rocky, and it also clicked because no one went as Rocky. But it's also, again, I thought more people were gonna go as Rocky or something like that because the day before they were in Philly, the Bananas posted the whole Rocky Run video, and I'm like, no, like what do I do? But no, it ended up working out. Good. Hit good BP, looked good in the outfield, made a couple trick plays too. And I still was scared, not scared. I was still nervous about me making it because once I got done with that day, I was like, that is so much fun. I was like, that is the most fun I've ever had. I want to do this so bad. And to make things worse, that was September 15th. They had 5 other tryouts, and then it was November, like, you know what I mean? Like it was the end of September was easy part because like I had fun, baseball was over, like I could chill. And then I'm not a guy that likes to just sit around a whole lot. So like I'll take 1-2 weeks off at the end of the season to do nothing. And then, but like I'll lift and stuff. And then October, like it started to drag out because I'm like, oh my goodness. Like even it really is only a month and a week, but like it felt like 6 months that I was waiting for that call. And then finally woke up one morning, Barry's like, hey, you got time for a phone call today? And I was like, We're in. Let's go. We're in. But yeah, it all worked out. Sorry for that long story, but I think that also kind of helps if anyone's watching this whole thing. I think it also kind of helps put everything into perspective for the most part.
Yeah, that was an awesome story, and I like the seeing the difference between your experience in indie ball and now in Banana Land. For those that aren't, some fans that don't really know about indie ball, like how is that different? Your experience there, how has that been different than your experience now playing banana ball, and like how the organizations are run and how just kind of like the team feel and things like that?
Well, first off, we play 6 days a week in pro ball or in indie ball, so that's the start.
Yeah.
But I guess along with that, real quick though, some of the guys that I grew up with back home, like they're one super happy for me for this opportunity, but two, they've even asked, they're like, do you think it's going to be easier going from playing 6 days a week to two, maybe three? At the start, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a little, but now after we've already played 2 weeks, it is so much harder. Like it is because the like way I put it is like I could play 6 days a week in pro ball. I'm not getting like I can jog out the center field, even if I'm going to center, I can jog out the center. I might not get a ball for an inning, jog back in, and if I'm not due up, the way I play pro ball, I sit on the bench. You know what I mean? Like I'll sit and chill, conserve my energy until I actually have to go do something. But in banana ball, obviously you guys know you're running out to your position because you got maybe 30 seconds if it's non-promotional inning to get out to your position before the pitch is thrown, and then you're running back in, and then you can't really just sit down to be up, obviously be entertaining. So like the 2 days, it takes way more out of my body versus a full 6 week or 6 day in pro ball. So that's just one thing. Two, the nice part is like, I mean, I feel like I'm a good guy, like a good person, like and everything. So like I'm not worried day to day of like, hey, am I going to be gone tomorrow? Like, is this the day that I'm released? I already had it happen to me twice. Is this the day that I'm traded? Is this the day that, hey, I went 4 for 5 last night, was flying around the bases. Is this the day that the affiliate team calls and I'm going to an affiliate? Like, it's just kind of like, it's way different than that. And honestly, like it's still baseball. So like even here, like everyone, the best way I can describe it just in pro ball in general is like, obviously you have the team business, but everyone is in business for themselves. Now, granted, like there's some guys that take that to an extreme and they're super for themselves. And there's other guys that will obviously help whatever's best for the team. And like, even though we're all still our own business here, we all are so level-headed and equal-minded that it helps us as a whole. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I could go 0 for 4, but like, I still have a job to do with the fans. And it's like, obviously, if it comes to a point where like I'm not taking care of stuff on the baseball field, like maybe it would, you know what I mean, happen where like, I mean, maybe not asked back, whatever. It kind of seems like just also from the guys who have been back that like your struggles here do not define who you are. Like you could be a great person, great with the fans, and like that. Obviously, you want to be very competitive and you want to do things right on the baseball field. Don't get me wrong. Like it's not that, but like you have a way bigger purpose. That's the better word. You have a way bigger purpose here, which is like awesome to be a part of and see, especially coming from both ways. And I don't know his last name, but his name's Ashby. He's on the Visitors. I was talking to him today because the Visitors we welcomed them in this morning, and he just got fresh out of college, and he was asking me like where I've been, and I was like, yeah, I've been in pro ball or indie ball, and then I'm here, and he was like, you like this way better than any ball? And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Like it's so much better. And it's like, even like, I mean, we had the week off, which was great. I got to go home like the past year and a half. Once the season starts, like I'm not able to go home with me playing out West. And that's the thing that sucks is like, I love being able to have baseball as my occupation. But the sucky part is when you have that 1 p.m. Sunday game and you get done at 4, and then you have from 4 till you go to sleep, and then you have the whole next day of nothing. And it's like I could be at home with my parents, my girlfriend, my dog, like, you know what I mean? Like I could be with them and you can't. Like it's just again, it's very family oriented here too, and it's like laid back in a good way. Like we had flights obviously from Reno home or back to Savannah, but we had the week off because the Bananas party game was just played in Charlotte. So like I changed my flight and went home, and I was home for 5 days last week. So like it was, you know what I mean? Like it's great because like, again, I love being able to be, I love I love being away from my family in the sense of like when I'm doing baseball, but when it comes to the end of the day, like my family helps me clear my mind and like, you know what I mean? Like realize that like this is not all what life is. You know what I mean? Like there's more to life than just how far I can hit a baseball or how hard I can throw one. You know what I mean? That's the awesome part. And there's been a couple of guys that like that have had stuff go on, and like the organization's been the first people to reach out, ask for help, or like, hey, what do you need? Do you need to go home? Like what do you need? So that's been the best part. And that's something I would not have seen in any ball. Since guys that go, hey, I have to go home. They're like, I can't risk it. Like you're going to be released. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'll even attest to that. I got inducted in my high school Hall of Fame last year, and it was a week. It happened to be a week at the end of the regular season, and like we're making a playoff push in Oakland. Like we still needed to win like 2 more games. I think we had a week to win 2. I had planned this a month and a half before. Like I told them like, hey, this is happening. Like I want to go home. They're like, yeah, go ahead. Guys had left for weddings, like and all that. They're like, no problem. We get to that week, and they're like, hey, there's no chance there's a chance you might have a spot if you go. And I'm like, well, what do I do? Like this is, you know what I mean? Like this, I'm like, this is very big to me. Like I mean, like at the same time, like I wasn't trying to downgrade it, but like also like I'm like, yeah, like I love being able to play pro baseball. And I'm like, it was very tough because it's like you're not gonna be able to get to play pro baseball for all your life, but you're not gonna be able to get reinducted in your high school Hall of Fame, and with all your friends and family being there that helped you along the way. So it was very weird. But luckily, right before I left, we were able to clinch. So then it made that whole 2-day process easier to be able to run home for that. But yeah, completely different in the best way possible. However, I am very happy that I got to experience it, because I think that if I would have tried to have this affiliate dream and come straight to Banana Ball, I would say that I don't think I would have been able to appreciate Banana Ball as much as I do now. But because I think in the back of my mind, I would have always had that what if. Like, if I would have went and played indie ball, could I have gotten to affiliate? And it's like now, or like even when I got the call for the tryout, I had played indie ball the last year and a half. Before I got hurt, I was hitting like 380. And then last year, I finished the whole season. I think I hit like 320 something with like 13 bombs. So I was like, wow. Granted, I could hit 400. I could always do better. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm about to be 25, and in the pro ball world, that's old, especially with the draft and everything. Like they're drafting a lot of the young guys. So I'm like, there's still a probable chance. Like I got a buddy who's with the Giants, and he got signed in 23, and he was 25 at the time. He's 27 now. So I'm like, there's always a chance. But it's like at that point, again, in November, no one had called. I either could go back to indie ball, which they really wanted me, and then obviously Barry called me and said the Bananas really wanted me, or obviously Tailgaters, but they were in Banana Ball in general. And I was like, I want to do this. I'm like, I want to go do this. And I'm like, even if I at the time, I'm like, even if I am only able to experience Banana Ball for a year, because obviously we don't know, it's a year-to-year contract. We don't know what the future holds. Obviously, I'm here for years to come. But at that time, I'm like, you know what? Like, I got to experience this. Like, I already experienced pro ball or indie ball. And like if everything goes well, like I could still probably have a chance to play indie ball again, but I might not have a chance to go play Banana Ball ever again. So yeah, just so happy I jumped on that. And again, also at the same time, happy that because again, I don't think if I go play pro ball at the time, it might not lead me to here or whatever. Like there's so many things that everything happens for a reason. Like you know what I mean? Like it all happens.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for taking us into that. Your story is absolutely crazy. It's been really fun.
Sorry if this has been long, just me spieling, but it's just
you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I did want to ask something. So in the game, you were pitching, and all of a sudden, you and the catcher at the same time pull off a backflip, and then you go and throw the pitch. Did you know how to do a backflip before Banana Ball, or is that something you learned here for Banana?
It's something I learned here. Again, another kind of mind-blowing story. So when I got the call, I was like, all right, I want to learn how to do a backflip. But I was a little macho at the time. I'm like, I'm not going to gymnastics to learn how to do a backflip. I'll just learn it myself. And then it got to a point where I didn't do it because I was wanting to do it outside, but I never really, it was November, and I was hitting and whatnot. And then come January, I was like, I got to start trying to do this if I want to do this. So I'm literally in the gym, I'm watching videos, and they're trying to teach you how to do a back handspring. And I did one, and thought I was going to get hurt. So I was like, I shut it down. Anyway, so I get here, in March, and we didn't do anything. And then April was when we were supposed to report, but I got here at the beginning of March, so I could just get here. My lease was already here, and I'm a big person too. Like, I don't like to pay for things if I'm not using them. So like, I'm like, I don't want to pay for a room even though I'm gonna have to use it. So like, our lease started in March, so I'm like, and at that point I was already like, in Ohio it was 20 degrees and I'm hitting inside, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I could go down to 80 degrees and go hit on a field every single day.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go. I don't care if it's a month early. So like, came down here, and then it's probably like mid-April, and I talked to some guys like, hey, like, I want to learn how to do a backflip. And it's funny. So Mac Danford is like, him and I started to become close, like one of the, like when we first met, and he could do a backflip already. That's the funny thing. He goes, dude, you're athletic enough, just flip. And I'm like, dude, you gotta help me learn. He goes, just stand there and jump backwards. And I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this on the turf. I don't know how to. Like, I had never done one on a trampoline, into a pool, nothing. And then, long story short, we started going to a gymnastics place. I started going with a couple of the guys, but mainly Indy Stanley. And it was like hit or miss though. So this is like probably like mid-April we started going. And the thing that sucked, we could only go once a week. So like, I got to the point where the first day, like, we jumped in the foam pit, and then I ended up doing them like from the ledge into the foam pit. So like, I was starting to get over it. And I think maybe that day I might have did one spotted a lot, but like, and then that was like my last one of the day. We leave, come back the next week, and like totally forgot how to flip. Like the mental block was there. It was real. It was there. I had to redo everything. And I got to the point where, like, this is like 3-4 weeks on. Every time we went, like the first 15 minutes, I was trying to get over the fear of flipping again. And it's like the week before, I literally had flipped. And then literally, Albuquerque was like May 20th. I think probably like around like May 10th. We went to another gymnastics place, and we get there, and there's no foam pit, which scares the crap out of me, because I'm like, how am I going to, and I'm like, well, I got to get over the fear of, like, I got to be able to just do it, like, because I can't, like, work, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't, like, same thing with hitting, like, you can't become so reliant on doing this whole routine, because sometimes you can't do that routine, so, like, it's not going to stop you from going, like, I can't hit in the box today because I didn't do my routine, like, so I'm like, I got to start doing things, so I end up getting it, and then finally, long story short, I finally ended up sort of ripping, like, getting them at the field, like, we had the mats out, and I was getting them spotted. So we left, it was a Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday in Albuquerque, so we left Friday, sorry, I'm trying to get my dates right-ish, I think it was around Tuesday or Wednesday, we had like a rehearsal game. Or the day before, we talked about our OTT meetings, over the top meetings. They were like, we have a possible 822. We need a pitcher that's able to do a backflip. And we're like, any pitchers that can do a backflip. And I'm in the back, like, I hadn't really ripped a backflip at like outside of the gymnastics place. And they're like, Carson can do one. And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, all right, we'll scratch it. And I was like, well, I said maybe I could do it. Like, give me a day. Like, cause we were going that night to flip again and I actually got it like fully at the gymnastics place. So the next day day before we left, I talked to Jordan, who's our entertainment person. And I was like, hey, like, I just want to know, are we still doing the 822, the like double backflip? And she was like, well, I got told that no one could do a backflip. Can you do a backflip? And I was like, yeah, like, I've been working. And before I finished it, she said, rip one. And I literally jumped and backflipped and landed it perfectly. And that was the first time that I just had not thought about it and just did it. And I literally shocked myself. Like, I don't know what I wanted to do it so bad because it was my first game too. I was like, I was really gearing up to do it for the first game. And then probably a week before the first game, before that day, I was like, I don't think it's going to happen before this day one. So then I was like, all right, I want to do it before Ohio, before my hometown. I want to get it down. So she's like, rip it. Ripped it, and she looked at me and she was like, all right, we'll put it back in. And I'm like, yeah. And then she walked away, and I'm like, what did I get myself into? Like, but and then the whole nervous piece about it too was like, I had never done it on a mound. I'd done it on a flat surface. So and the whole thing was like doing a backflip on the mound, then throwing a pitch. But after talking to Taylor Justice, who's the catcher, he was like, I can't jump with my mask on. He's like, I got to take the mask off. So I need like a split second. So then I was talking to Justin, who's our strength and conditioning coach, which he used to be a gymnast himself. So he was helping me flip and whatnot, and we went to the mound, and he was like, hey, how about you go to the back of the mound? He goes, you can land them perfectly, but he was like, if you go to the back of the mound on the incline, it'll help with your feet. Like, you'll get over a little easier, and it'll give you time to get back on the mound, which the heart rate was supposed to be so low that I did the flip, got back on the mound, came set real quick, and then threw it. It turned into an illegal crow hop, which I still did not know that wasn't able to be a thing. But it was all, the entertainment piece was there. regardless. Like the whole thing was like I did the flip and I tried to make it slow as possible, but again, like no one was in that moment for my like other than me and Justice, but like my heart was already racing. It's my first time pitching a banana ball, my second batter, and I'm ripping a backflip in front of 15,000 people. Like, you know what I mean? And also I'm thinking in my head, like, one, land it. Two, and also before that, like I had my hat and my glasses on, and I had never done it with a ball and a glove in my hand. My glove's not even really that broken in, my pitching glove. So I was nervous to have it in my glove for it to go flying out. I was nervous for my hat and glasses to go flying off. But in that moment, I didn't think about it. Like I thought about it before, flipped, and then the funny thing is like everything stayed in place, which is even so. I didn't learn a backflip until I got to banana ball, and then it wasn't until 2 days before that is when we fully put it into the script, and we practiced that day 2 hours before the game of our timing of when we were doing it because it was probably about like a second and a half, 2 seconds from the time we both landed. By the time I got back on the mound and Justice had his mask on, but we did it kind of clean that it was like perfect. But yeah, I guess I wasn't supposed to do a crow hop, and some of the party animals kind of gave me some crap for it right at first. And then like I went up and talked to Bloomer after. I'm like, hey, like I was like, I didn't know. And before I finished, he was like, dude, he was like, don't listen to him. He was like, you didn't hit me. He goes, I didn't. He's like, I didn't care. And I was like, okay. But yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, thanks for taking us into that. I can't. The fact that you learned that just here is awesome. Really cool to see some of that stuff. Looking before this, I noticed that on your Instagram you had some pictures of you playing soccer, football, and basketball in addition to baseball. Like,
yeah.
Were you just an all-around athlete? You just like playing any sports, or what was kind of the story with some of that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I've been in sports ever since I was little. Like the first sport I played was soccer. I mean, at least around my area, like you can get in tiny toes at like I think I played tiny toes like 4 years old. But I don't like with my birthday, I didn't think I could play t-ball until I was 5 maybe. So like I played soccer first, maybe around that time. But I know I played soccer first. And at that time, being a kid, like the rec league, we had only baseball in the spring, obviously, but we had soccer in the fall and the spring. And then also, I remember as a kid, my parents would always take me like from the time I was like 5 to like 10, I was doing swimming lessons in the winter. So like, not to become a swimmer. If it would have worked out, it would have worked out. But it was mainly like when I was little, especially to like obviously learn how to swim and not drown. But it was always doing something. Like I remember always going from practice to swimming or swimming to practice, whatever. And then like whenever I became old enough, like at that point it was soccer, basketball, baseball, soccer, basketball, baseball. And then sometimes soccer, basketball, soccer, baseball. Like I'd go back and forth. And then when I was in 3rd grade, that was when the local Pee Wee League kids were allowed to play tackle. It was 3rd grade, and my dad would not let me play tackle football. He was like, "You're not playing." My dad's very chill, but my parents are, I should say. However, they were pretty adamant, like, "You're not playing tackle football." And I grew up watching, like, I'm a big Cowboys fan because my dad, unfortunately, but like I grew up like every fall was football, and it's like I would wake up in the morning in the fall at 3rd grade, even before that, and we'd watch football, and then I'd go play soccer and come back and play football, and then my dad and I would go throw football in the backyard. So, like, I think it was 4th grade, again, a lot of my friends were playing football, and I was like, hey, I really want to play football. And then my parents finally let me play football, so we scratched soccer in 4th grade. So I played football 4th, actually I lied, timeline, 5th grade, same story, but 5th grade. 5th grade was my first year playing football in Pee Wee. So I played, no, it was 4th grade. Okay, 4th grade, sorry. But anyways, I played 3 years of football, including my 7th grade year, which obviously, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but in Ohio, you can only play school sanctioned sports in 7th grade. So like you can't play basketball or baseball for the school in 6th grade. You can, or whatever. You have to start in 7th grade. So you could play travel. You still play travel all. 7th grade comes, I play football, and then to end the year, and I was a wide receiver. So I was wide receiver and cornerback. And then at the end of 7th grade year of playing football, I got a concussion. Also, the whole thing, like, I loved playing football because I loved watching football. I loved scoring touchdowns. And I loved being a wide receiver mainly because I would just get by people and run. Like, I just loved being in open field, running and catching the ball, making moves and going. I hated being hit, and I hated hitting people. hated it. Like I would always do the whole like side, like, can I get you? And like I would get yelled at, whatever, because I hated hitting people. Because one, like I never want to hurt anybody. So that's kind of also where it kind of like me and football kind of like also had a little differences. However, like I was still good enough that like I was a wide receiver. Like, hey, I could just run by you and score a touchdown, whatever. But anyways, then I played basketball for the school in 7th grade. And then I didn't play school baseball but I played travel because at the time, so my travel ball years when I got into travel ball in Ohio, so like I'm a summer birthday, but so in the travel ball world, I was able to play down. That's just all my friends that I had around me were younger than me, a grade younger than me. So they played down. So when I got into it, I played with them, but I was always a class above them. So I just continued playing with them. So then when I got to 7th grade, my travel ball team, I was the only kid that was eligible to play for the school. And my coach, summer ball coach, was like, hey, like you can go play with your school. He was like, but we're gonna have to bring somebody in to replace you. And he was like, so when you come back, it's no sense of like if you're gonna be playing or not. And at that point, like again, you're 7th grade, so what, 12 years old, and like you're playing 60 feet 6 inches, 90 feet base pads, drop 3 bat, and at that point I'm 90 pounds, like, or I could go play travel baseball and play 6 of those weeks against better competition, better arms, and play dimensions that I'm at, like my size is supposed to be playing at that age. So I didn't play school baseball 7th and 8th grade, but I played travel baseball for those years. But anyways, 8th grade year, I was like, you know what? Football's done for me. I'm going to run cross country. And right before I got ready we didn't have a school soccer team, but we still had the rec league, but the rec league had their own middle school travel. Like it was still a part of the rec league, but it was known as like the travel soccer league, whatever. And they were like, hey, we want you to come out and play if you're not playing football. And I was like, I might run cross country. And then I was like, well, I love to run, but I don't love to just run. Like I love to run and be like, you know what I mean? Like I love to like do something. So I was like, I'll play soccer. And then the other thing that I was told was like, hey, when I was in 8th grade, the senior class of soccer, they were like, everyone was graduating. They're like, there might be a chance if you're good enough that you could play varsity as a freshman. So I played soccer in 8th grade for the first time in 3-4 years. And like, did go whatever, and then flash forward to freshman year where I was able to play varsity. So I played varsity soccer from freshman year on. I didn't even play varsity ball. I played varsity baseball my sophomore year. I played JV baseball and freshman basketball. And then I played, again, soccer sophomore year. And at that point, our goalkeeper was a senior, and he was the kicker for the football team. And I had tried to go out and kick in 7th grade with my dad, and it went terrible. Like it was just, we just went out and just kicked, and we were both like, this ain't gonna do it. And then one day, again, Sunday, I love watching football. My dad and I are sitting there. Cowboys played at 1. It's 4:00, and I'm like, hey, you want to go to the football field and kick? And he was like, you sure? You know, it happened last time. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go. We'll go and kick. And the funny thing is like, I'd watch kickers, but like, I didn't know the steps at the time, but I was just at that point, like running up and kicking it like a kickoff at that point. But regardless, it was like 2 PAT-wise, like straight down the middle. I was like, my dad was like, okay, let's back it up. At that point, like me and my dad are very, very competitive, and he's not even kicking with me, but he's like, all right, let's see if you can go back. And like we went back and drilled it. And we got back to like 40 yards. And he's like, all right, see if you got it. Drilled it. And I'm like, dude, like I think I can do this. And then to that point, I was like, all right, like I could do this. I could go kick. The keeper was just doing it. So yeah, so that's how I got into football my junior year. So my junior year, soccer, football, basketball, baseball. And like those falls sometimes got brutal. Like it was, once school started, I mean, sometimes I'd go to basketball in the mornings, like shoot around basketball, school day. Football was always right after school. And luckily the football and soccer coach, they weren't necessarily eye to eye, but like, cause our football like ran the town. Like that's kind of how it was. Like majority, like football brought in the money. So it's like football feels like they're above. However, best thing about it was football coach was like, hey, we'll put special teams the first 15-20 minutes of practice, because soccer was at 4:30. So we would get out at school at 2:30, practice at 3. So 3 to 3:30 was kicking. Then I'd go, luckily I lived right on the corner, so I'd go home, get a quick snack, come right back, soccer practice at 4:30. And then once it got later in the fall, like in September, early October-ish, I would throw in baseball at the end of those days, because I like at that point it was ready for me to start hitting to get ready. So like some of those fall days got absurd. And then once Once basketball came around, it made it easier because I wasn't kicking, I wasn't playing soccer, so it was just basketball practice, baseball. That's all it was. And then when baseball season came, baseball, like nothing. Which like I at the time, and then like obviously baseball, summer baseball, and then fall started back over again. So like it was never not doing anything, which like I would not have had it any other way. Like I loved it, and like I missed out on some key like events, I guess, with like some of my buddies and whatnot. However, like I still had a close knit group with my friends from home, because luckily like we lived in a neighborhood and we all grew up around each other, and like the oldest graduated 2 years above me, and then there was one that was a year older, and then two that were a year younger. So like we were all around each other every single day. So like it, especially on the weekends, it made it easy. Like, hey, I was gone till 10 p.m. doing something. Like, hey, I'm almost home, whatever, and everyone was over, and like we're hanging out as boys till like 2, 3 in the morning. So like I didn't really miss out, but like I didn't have the freedom, obviously, as what some high school kids get to have, but I wouldn't have had it any other way. Very little chance for me to find stuff to get in trouble in high school, because also I lived in a very small town. Once kids became the age of like starting to, I'll say, experiment with whatever you want to call anything, it got around the town quick of like who was doing something. So I was all like, knew at that point, even 15, 16 years old, I was like, hey, I want to go play college. I want to go play pro baseball one day. Like, don't ruin anything at 15 years old. Like, I mean, granted, like there was probably some stupid stuff that we did, but like not to an extreme. You know what I mean? Like, we were just being kids. But yeah, and I was actually, after I graduated, I committed to Muskingum University to play baseball, and I had decided that I wanted to kick for the football team. So I was initially supposed to kick and play baseball, and then a week before football reported, I was already kind of debating the whole summer like what I wanted to do. And again, I'm 140 pounds at the time, and I'm like I had already noticed on the football field in high school, I'm like, if I'm like, I did make two tackles in high school, but the kids weren't much bigger than me. But I'm like, if it comes down to that and I have to make a tackle in college, like these are some grown men. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of scared, but also the football team for the school I was going to wasn't very good. And I'm like, hey, I can't kick if we don't score. So like, why would I want to go sit on the sideline and not kick? You know what I mean? Where I could be doing something else. So actually, literally a week before school, I got a hold of the soccer coach. It was like, hey, I played soccer in high school. Like, can I come try out for the soccer team? And he was like, yep. Made the soccer team, and ended up starting. And I had like 8 or 9 starts, I think, soccer my freshman year. And then went on and played baseball the spring. And then, and then the summer I ended up putting on weight. At that time, going into my sophomore year, I went from 150 pounds to like 170. And I was like, we were 4-13 my freshman year of soccer, and we started out 4-1. Wow. So we started off 4-1 and finished 4-13. So I was like, do I really want to go back and play soccer and run off all this weight that I just put on, or do I want to like fully, for the first time in my life, do baseball literally year round? And decided to do that. And that fall was going great. Baseball, boom, COVID hit. Then COVID, and then went back to that. Junior year was still there at that school, and we finished baseball 7-23. And we were kind of bad the first 2 years too. Like I did what I needed to do. Like I hit very well. I think I hit like 319 as a freshman, and then before COVID hit, I was hitting 405. So I was like, all right, like I'm doing what I need. And at that point, we were young. Like we had a bunch of guys who started as a freshman, so we're like, okay, like we got potential. And sophomore year, we started off good. Junior year, 7-23, and I finished the season hitting like 410 or something like that. My buddies were like, dude, you need to transfer. Like, you need to transfer up divisions. So I tried to transfer, and there was a couple of D1s that reached out, and they were like, hey, we like your stuff, yada, yada. But they didn't have the spots because the 5th year rule, guys were coming back. They're like, hey, we don't have a spot for you. In calls Marietta, which, again, another funny story is the assistant coach at Marietta, he's not there anymore. I honestly can't remember the school he's at now. He's a head coach now. He was my assistant my first year at Muskingum. So he calls me. He's like, hey, I heard you entered the transfer portal. Is that true? Yada, yada, yep. And he's like, all right, like, do you want to see what we're about? And I'm like, yes, I'm not leaving anything out. And I'm like, if I'm staying D3, I want to play good ball, because at that point, again, I hit like 405, 410 the last 2 years, and the best I got was first team all conference, and I had way better stats than anyone in the region. And then at that point, Marietta very prestigious program in D3. I don't know if you guys know anything about it, but 6 national titles. The head coach who's still there now, Coach Brewer, love Coach Brewer. Awesome. Like, so happy with the decision. Just like the family that I met there. Guys, alumni, everything. But he has 3 of them. 2 of them are back to back. So like at that point, I'm like, it's an all turf field, lights, like prestigious program. Everyone's coming back to come off a regional. Like, I'm like, I'd be a fool not to go here. Like, I'm playing great baseball, and then yeah, everything lined up. So I got long kind of story again of the whole thing. But yes, I've always been an athlete, I guess. So like even like in the off season, when I go back home, I'll text the head basketball coach at the high school, and I'm like, hey, I need some conditioning in. Like, you want me to run? And like I'll go, and like, and he trusts me. Like, I'll toughen up some of the guys. Like, if they need like someone like high school's not very big. It's getting bigger now. So like there was 2 guys, and there's only 1 now, but like really good. But like really good in the sense of also like at practice he starts kind of like lollygagging around and like won't get work in, because also like he gets to the point where if he's going against the JV squad, like he knows he can just beat him off the dribble. But like when it comes to game time, the guys are actually guarding him. You know what I mean? So I'll get in there and just like actually like, and I'm an athlete and I'm just in front of him like playing good defense, and like he's trying to get by, and like I'm not hurting him, but you know what I mean? Like giving him some bumps, like, hey, you're not getting by me. So like helps make him work, and it kind of helps everyone out. You know what I mean? So I'll go do that, and helps me kind of stay agile. And also I love shooting the rock. Like I love it. And I love just going back, and it's crazy because I was so much smaller in basketball in high school, and I haven't played basketball since, but like I'm so much more of a better basketball player now because I know how to use my body. Like, you know what I mean? It's also fun for me just to be an athlete and just go back, but also just to help everyone out. So, I mean, I coach back home too. So like I'm always around. It gives me something to do, and I'm around being like around the guys. And it's also cool. Like, I don't do it for a personal, like for a personal status. Like, I don't go around and like, hey, like, look at where I'm at. But like, I'm there, and if guys want to talk, like, hey, like, what's the process of going to school? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what, like, I love being able to like give my 2 cents of like, what to do, or like help try to figure out what they want to do. And it's also like, I mean, I have a teaching degree. That's what I graduated in. Granted, I don't know if I want to be a teacher anymore, but like I've been in the classroom, obviously in school, but like I'll go back and sub every once in a while, just to be around the kids and talk to them. But I'm always helping with baseball, or always helping with basketball typically. But yeah, sports are a huge part of my life, always have been, and would not have had it any other way, or would have it any other way still.
Awesome. I think we're gonna need to wrap up here pretty soon.
Yeah. So
Any last questions for him?
I think we'll just do the shout out stuff.
Yeah.
So Brett, thank you so much. That was some insightful stuff into your past career with baseball. I can't believe you played that many sports in high school and all of that. Really excited to see where you go from banana ball. But for those watching, if they want to follow you along, where can they find you on the internet so they can follow along?
Yeah, for sure. So Instagram and Twitter is Brett Carson _40. And then TikTok and YouTube is Brett Carson 24. So like I've been posting some vlogs I posted 1 vlog on Albuquerque. Again, my first vlog ever. So like, as like, it's good, not good, doesn't really bother me. Like the first one's out of the way, just posting about it. But gonna just kind of try to be just documenting my journey for like, just for people to see like what goes on and thought process and whatnot. But yeah, for sure. If you want to give me a follow on any of those, be greatly appreciated.
Will do. Now we're super excited to see how your journey continue, and thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you guys for having me.